Good Erev Pesach to you all, and may you all have a Chag Kasher v'Sameach. I've been privileged to learn Gemara Beitza B'Yon in a small shir with a number of community members over the last couple of years. As an aside, we're about to begin a new parak and would be happy to have you join us. Please be in touch with me after Yom Tov for details. One of the central discussions of the Masechta is about which malachos are permitted on Yom Tov relative to Shabbos. Famously, on Yom Tov, we're permitted to do many of the malachos that are related to immediate food use, as well as some others. What you may not know is that the pasuk we derive this from, which says, Ach asher ye'achel lechol nefesh, hu levado ye'aseh lachem, is found in a parsha discussing Pesach, which is read just prior to the Torah reading of the first day of Pesach. Truthfully, this is somewhat strange on a number of levels. Number one, why would the Torah place such an important rule about all of the Yamim Tovim in a parsha that talks solely about Pesach? In fact, the Torah reading for each day of Chol Hamoed is from a different section where the Torah discusses each of the Shalosh Regalim. Why couldn't it have been in one of those? Not only that, but it comes in as an almost parenthetical statement within the more detailed discussion about eating matzah. Both the previous and the following verses are discussing what we eat. So why is it here and why now? Furthermore, the language of the actual pasuk, Ach asher ye'achel lechol nefesh hu levado ye'aseh lachem, or as Ala Torah translated, except that which every man must eat, that only may be done by you, is also somewhat strange. Why didn't the Torah just write that cooking is okay on Yom Tov? Chazal actually highlight this language and derive various limitations on the permission to cook, as well as to perform halacha for other reasons on Yom Tov. We are limited to what is shavel lechol nefesh, meaning that one may only perform melachos which are equivalent to all, or everyone takes part in while cooking. Perhaps this rule can shed some light on the placement of this pasuk. We tend to view the ability to cook on Yom Tov as a special allowance. After all, we can't do that on Shabbos. We think of it as a heter special for Yom Tov, where the Torah allows us to do more malacha for whatever reasons we may come up with in our minds. On a practical level, it allows us to prepare warmer, better, and sometimes more creative food on Yom Tov, most certainly used to honor these holy days. However, when we look back at the actual allowance, we see that although this is certainly halachically permitted and recommended as part of Simchas Yom Tov, this may not have been the original intended emphasis. The heter given by the Torah to cook on Yom Tov was for something that everyone does, was for something that everyone eats, for basic essential needs. We can suggest that this is the reason that it was placed with the description of the holiday of Pesach and specifically sandwiched in the discussion of matzah. Both our abstaining from chametz and our emphasis on matzah, as noted by many mefarshim, is meant to demonstrate that Pesach is about getting back to the basics. We get rid of all the extra special leavened materials and eat our lechem oni, made of simply flour and water. That is the lesson of matzah, and that is also what we learn from the Torah's law, permitting us to cook anything which is shavel lechol nefesh. The basic needs of the Jewish people must be emphasized on this Yom Tov specifically. This Pesach, before we beautify our tables with specialty cooked dishes and other delicious food straight out of the oven, which is certainly a mitzvah in its own right, let us take a moment to think about others and make sure that our cooking and baking is truly shavel lechol nefesh, that others will also be able to partake in the Yom Tov. By ensuring that everyone else will also be able to have a joyous Yom Tov and post-Yom Tov, we will merit the even more delicious meal of the Libyasan with the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen.